Happy Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. Welcome to Daily Stock Market Technical Analysis. And I hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. We'll start with Bitcoin and we'll review what are the price targets for Bitcoin, how things are coming along. Bitcoin has pumped a lot from last couple of days. From the bottom here, from the buy zone to the top here, Bitcoin pumped almost 23%. We'll review the next targets for Bitcoin and we will review the entire stock market targets. And before we go further, if you're making money and if you're liking the videos, please hit the like button. Only takes 1 second to hit the like. Please share with your friends and family. Help this channel grow. And if you're making money, want to thank me, there's a PayPal donation link. I would really appreciate all the donations. I'll be very grateful to you. Okay, thank you. So we'll start with Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin is pumping. Now you can see here, this is the daily chart. And if you look at the futures, let's quickly see if Ethereum filled that gap. You can see very nicely Ethereum fill this gap and even went beyond it. If you watch my video from yesterday, I told you there's a gap. I even marked that gap here around 1834 and very nicely, so we can get rid of this. So this gap was left. You can see now all these gaps are filled. So you got a hint last couple of days. I've been telling you guys there's a gap and most likely that gap will be filled. And you can see market is very easy to read. And if you pay attention, you can easily decide and you can have a gain. So when Ethereum was down here, if you knew you want to take this trade until the gap fill, this is 13% trade. Okay, very easy trade. Now Ethereum. We're starting with Ethereum because this gap is filled. There was no gap on Bitcoin futures, so I'm going with Ethereum right now. And I want to show you something else on Ethereum. There's also a gap, so do not get too bullish and very excited. Now we are getting this gap and we fill this gap and it's not going down at all. Just remember there is this massive gap here. You can see just from the close to the top of the gap. So this is easily around 10% gap. Okay, 10% gap is here. Let me show you again here. If I zoom in a bit, so this gap is going to be filled when Ethereum touch 1428 to be exact, and it will be touched. Okay, so it will be touched. I just don't know when. Is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? I don't know. So, but just remember that this gap will be filled, and from if you just sell today, take profits, and you wait for this gap to fill from today's close, which is right now here. Today's close on Ethereum to the gap, 26% down. Do you want to risk 26% profit? Are you getting too excited? Just remember, guys, there is this gap and do not get too bullish. Okay, so if you're in profits, lock your profits, enjoy, put an order right now for 1428. Just do not trade crypto, just wait for this gap to fill, and then when it's at 1428, it will be filled and you will be very happy. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen on Ethereum. And on Bitcoin futures, same story. If I go to 1 hour chart, the gap on 1 hour chart is at 20,160 to be exact. And from today's close, I even have this Tron. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this because I told you there's also a gap yesterday. I told you can see this gap here. So you can see easy trade, guys. You can see I told you yesterday only there is this gap and Bitcoin will try to fill this gap, and Bitcoin exactly did that. So you could have made easy money, and now there are no gaps left until 31,000. So you got to be careful. There's another gap left here around 20,160. So let me get rid of this gap because it's filled. So from where we are now at 30,300, from here to the bottom of this gap, it's around almost 19%. Do you want to wait? Sorry, not 19%. Sorry, it's even more. So from here to this gap around here, 33%. You got to ask yourself a question. Do you want to go risk 33% profits? If you're in profit, take your profits and then just wait for when we are here. I don't know when it's going to be there, but we will be there eventually to fill this gap. Okay, so just remember that. If you're very bullish, Just be mindful of that. Okay. So now let's go to live market, live Bitcoin market. This is the daily chart. Let's try to analyze. So I told you just yesterday, this is my buy zone. Bitcoin hit my buy zone, and I told you this is a trend line, and Bitcoin is now back on this trend line on daily chart. So I told you keep an eye on this trend line. If it breaks below this trend line, exit. But Bitcoin held this trend line very nicely. You can see support here, support here, support here. Bitcoin held this trend line, and Bitcoin now broke even above this other previous resistance. So let me get rid of this. I told you 1 hour chart. Keep my look at this previous high here, which is around 28,449, 28,500 almost. I told you keep an eye. If it breaks, then Bitcoin is now forming a new uptrend. Okay, so now what does that mean? You can see Bitcoin was making uh, lower highs. You can see Bitcoin was making lower highs, another low here, and now Bitcoin is making first high. So this high is higher than previous high. Okay, so this was, you can see, lower high compared to previous high, lower high compared to previous high, lower low compared to previous low, lower low compared to previous low, and this first time we are making a change in uptrend. Okay, so it's possible Bitcoin can go back down on this trend line and then go up. Okay, if you're a bull, this is what you're looking for. Now just keep in mind Bitcoin is again back in this big resistance, 31k resistance. I'm going to move it here. You can see this whole confluence of resistance. Bitcoin was not able to go above that before, and now it's trying an attempt again, but this is a big resistance. Okay, let's try to go on 1 hour chart and see. Let me get rid of this zigzag pattern so it's a bit clear, and let me get rid of this Fibonacci retracement so also it's a bit clear to see. Okay, so now it's clear to see, and this resistance is gone. So let's get rid of that. Now we are on this top resistance. This is the most important resistance, and let's go to 1 hour chart to see if we can find anything, if we can get some alerts or not. Okay, so on 1 hour chart, you can see what's happening. You can see we are making a new high. No divergence on PPO, no divergence on RSI, which is a very good sign. Bitcoin is making uptrend, and let's see, this high is also, there's no divergence, but you can see on short term chart how oversold Bitcoin is. Okay, it's very oversold. It's good to have a pullback to like reset these indicators before we go higher. You can see here whenever these lines, RSI lines, are green background, it's very oversold. Okay, so you can see here it's also very oversold, and then we get a dump here, also very oversold, we get a dump. So it's okay for Bitcoin to relax a bit. Now after this pump, it's okay to have a little bit of downside before we go higher, so that's totally reasonable. Let's go to daily chart, and on daily chart we got a buy signal. This buy signal, green dot, we got it on Friday 16th of June. That was our first indication, and then you can see on PPO, if I zoom in, you can see PPO crossed, green line is above red line, so that was our other indication that Bitcoin is going higher. Let's go and see on weekly chart if we see any other indications. So let's try to see. So we got a green sign. So this week, which is still running, couple of days left. This week is still Sunday. We just got a green dot, and let's see on PPO. We are we haven't still crossed, green line haven't still crossed the red line. So it's very important that green line cross red line to become a confirmation that uptrend is coming on weekly. RSI is giving a green dot, but we still have, today is Wednesday, 4 days left. So anything can happen on 4 days. If Bitcoin drops from here, this green line will disappear because this is a weekly chart. So we still have 3 or 4 days left, and this will not cross. So, but if we stay here, or if we go even higher from here, this green line will cross red line, and red green dot will be confirmed. Okay, so far I don't see any issues on Bitcoin. Now just remember, on weekly chart there's this big resistance around 31,000. Okay, big resistance. The second big resistance is here around 42,000. I don't think we're gonna go there, uh, just because I see weakness in the entire sector. So it's important that Bitcoin gets a pullback. Actually, to be honest, I did not expect this big move. I thought it's gonna stall here around 27,000, but this is just based on probabilities. Bitcoin was making lower highs, but now Bitcoin has changed that trend. Now it's making higher high. So if you get a pullback, try to buy on this trend line. Okay, this trend line is around 27,700. If you get a pullback, that will be a good area to buy for another test of previous highs. Okay, and that's how what I'm expecting on other sectors as well. So it can very likely do this. So it can very likely go back here, go again, test previous highs, and then come back. Okay, this is what I'm going to mark. This is my primary, what I think will happen. Let me get rid of this buy zone. This was based on the Fibonacci retracement. And now this 2200 is the gap. This is where exactly the gap is on the futures, which I showed you. So just be careful on Bitcoin based on that. Okay. So wait for a pullback, buy again, another pump, and then eventually go higher, lower. Sorry, I don't know how low we're gonna go, but we'll figure it out when we go there. So that's on crypto, guys. If you're here for crypto, this is it, and I'm gonna now move to entire market sector and commodities. And if you're only here for Bitcoin, please hit the like button on your way out. I will really appreciate it. Okay, so now let's go to US 500, MES chart, S&P 500. Let me try to find where it is. Sorry, I have so many indicators here because I'm trading pretty lively here. Okay, let me try to find. Okay, here you go. MES chart here. You can see I was expecting a pullback. Now we're getting a pullback, and you can see this pullback. We can go. There's a gap on MES chart, but this is futures contract gap, so this is not really a gap. So don't be too focused about that. Just remember we're getting a pullback, and I'll show you levels on SPY. We're getting a pullback again. After this pullback expecting a bounce to test previous highs, or maybe go slightly higher, and then October is significant weakness. Okay, so this is my anticipated chart, daily chart. So let's quickly go on futures and see how we would have figured this out. So let's see on, this is the daily chart, sorry, hourly chart. You can see what was happening on hourly. We were making new highs. You can see we can making uptrend, but you can see what was happening on PPO and RSI. These were going lower. Okay, so this was an early indication that a dump is coming. You can see this is going lower, RSI is going lower. So you can see that's a change in momentum. Price action is going higher, but PPO is going lower, RSI is going lower. So that was an indication of a downtrend. Okay, now on futures, if we draw a trend line, let's see, we can draw something like this. Probably not a clean trend line I have here. uh, Maybe like this. You can see it's still, you can see it's, if I draw a trend line like that, it's near support. Let's see if we are getting any divergences on S&P 500 yet. So we made a new low, still no divergence on RSI. So I think we're going to go a little bit more lower, and I want to see divergences forming on S&P 500. What does that mean? You can see something like, let's see if this is a good example. Not, this is not a good example. Maybe here. Yeah, you can see I want to see new lower prices coming, and then I want to see PPO going higher, RSI going higher. I want to see something like that develop. That will be an indication of reversal, early reversal indication. But I don't see that happening, so I'm going to get rid of this trend line. So until I see that, I think lower prices are coming. Until we see that, it's going to keep going lower. And then here are the levels on US 500. So basically, I'm expecting. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this. So this is an ideal buy zone, but I don't know if we're going to go that far. We can even bounce as high as here. So actually, because the market is too strong, I'm going to move it here. So 0.236 to 0.382 could be an ideal pullback for this to go. So from today's close, we can still go lower around 1.5%. Okay, so that will be a good area to buy for a possible bounce to new all-time high, slightly higher, and then eventually going lower in October. And let's quickly look at SPY, which is the ETF we use to trade S&P 500. Let's go to 1 hour chart. You can see this gap is not filled. Today we opened a gap that looks like it's still not filled. So this gap was, I think, basically due to dividends, if I'm not wrong. And then again, today's gap. Let's see if we have slight gap. Very slight gap, guys. Very slight gaps. I will leave it here for now. This gap is slightly not filled. There are two gaps up, and also I told you, if you're watching my videos, I told you guys there are multiple gaps here. Let's go to daily chart. You can also see this trend line. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this trend line for now. You can see, let's try to draw some levels on SPY. So there are two ways we can do. Let's draw some Fibonacci's from here. So if I draw a Fibonacci from here, so we are going to be in a buy zone here. So that will be an ideal area to buy, and that's where the gap is also there. So if I let's make it green, and let me get rid of this fib retracements. So anywhere from 429 to this gap fill around 420, that will be a good area to buy. So from today's close, we are around 1% away, 1.2, 1.5% away. So look to buy in this zone. Then I'm gonna expect another pump to have maybe a new high later this summer, and then a dump eventually into October, September, October. Okay. So this is my analysis on SPY. Sorry, let me reset this. And then, like I said, there are multiple gaps. These gaps will be filled, and who knows, we'll fill this gap in October probably. So we'll figure it out at that time. All right. And triple Qs or M and Q. So same thing. I think the top is in. Tech sector is looking very weak, to be honest. I think top is in, looking for a back test later on. So looking for this dump, back test, previous high, and then going lower. All right. I don't know how far we're going to go with this back test, but that all will depend on earnings. But this is my primary indication on triple Qs. And if I go to NASDAQ 100, 1 hour chart, same story. You can see we're making new highs. I even have it listed here. I told you guys a couple of days ago, we're going high, making higher highs with lower momentum on PPO and RSI. So indication of a dump. And I still don't see any divergences yet. So I want to see lower prices with divergences forming, like I told you on S&P 500. That will be the indication that we're ready for a reversal. And let's go to triple Qs and see if we created gaps. This is 1 hour chart, and you can see we have another gap today. So this gap is also not filled. Actually, the first gap, other gap was on SPY. So this one, there's this gap here. There's a gap at the bottom, multiple gaps at the bottom. So I think the target for this dump is probably, if we can go on this trend line, that will be a good area to buy. So I'm expecting more lower prices. Okay. So at least this first gap, and then eventually the best case would be the second gap, which is around 333. So from today's close to that gap, around 7-8%. Okay. So once we are back on this trend line, that will be a good area to take profits of if you're shorting, or it will be a good area to go long for a back test later on, and then eventually we're going to go lower to fill most of these gaps. So that's what I'm expecting on triple Qs. US 30, again going lower. We are getting very close to the buy zone, and maybe tomorrow we can go in the buy zone, and then I will be expecting a reversal after that. Okay, so let's draw some lines here. Let me get the right tool. So expecting this to bottom and then go higher. All right. Dow Jones, I think money will flow out of tech sector into industrial stocks. They are down heavily. So I think that's what's going to happen. So good area to buy Dow Jones, and Russell 2000 is also the other one. Very close to the bottom. So if I draw a Fibonacci, let's make a Fibonacci retracement from this pump here to here. Let's draw some levels. So I'm going to get rid of this. So if I draw some levels here on Russell, so somewhere from here to here, we are very close to the buy zone, guys. So look to buy Russell. IWM is the ETF. I'll show you. And this is previous resistance. Not able to cross that, but from today's close, We are around 1% away. Okay, so very, very close to the bottom. Okay, so looking for bottom very, very soon. So Russell 2000 and US 30 will be the two indexes I will be looking to trade in upcoming days. And if we are in this box tomorrow or on Friday, I will be looking to buy to the long side. All right. And UNH, I'm still holding, but it was in the sell zone. Basically, the trade, it I can show you the standard deviation later on, but this was in the sell zone. Actually, let me quickly show you based on my chart how it looked like. Could have taken, I told you yesterday, I'm looking to take profits, and I did take profits out. You can see how nicely it touched this. You can see yesterday I was just showing you zoomed out how nicely it's going to touch red line. So I bought here, and today exactly I took most of the profits out and I'm letting the runner go. It can go, there are multiple levels to the upside. So let me quickly get rid of this. Let's go to daily chart. Let's get some indicators back on. So if you see on daily chart, there are multiple gaps to the upside, and then this is one of the biggest healthcare stock uh, in North America. So you can see all these gaps on 1 hour chart. You can see all these gaps. So from today's close to the first gap, we are 2.5% away. Second gap is 5%. Third gap is 6%, 6.5%. Okay, and it also looks like there are more gaps. If I even zoom in, I didn't go that far, but if I, you can see there's a gap here, so it can even go as high as that gap. Okay, oh no, actually that gap was filled, so I can get rid of that. So that was the only final gap. And the reason I'm telling UNS is the biggest weight. I think it's 8 or 9% in Dow Jones, which is US 30. So this is the biggest stock in Dow Jones. Dow Jones is consists of 30 stock. So that's why I'm holding it, because I'm expecting Dow Jones to bottom very, very soon, and then expecting a new all-time high. So if Dow Jones going to new all-time highs, UNH definitely will take it to new all-time high. And then from today's close to new all-time high, we can be up as much as 15%. Okay, so it's all strategic move, guys. And then the other thing I told you a couple of days ago when I bought it, I told you, you can see what's happening on daily. We are getting divergences. You can see prices going lower, higher momentum on PPO and RSI. Now we're getting a bounce. Okay, so yeah, everything is looking good. Trade is working out great, and I don't see any divergences on 1 hour chart. You can see new high, PPO is high, RSI is high. This trade is just getting started, and things are looking really, really good on UNH. Okay, going to gold basically perfect rejection from the rejection box here, and now we are in the buy zone. Okay, so if I draw a Fibonacci retracement on gold, I can show you again from here, from the low here to the high here. And if I draw a Fibonacci retracement, you can see we are in the buy zone, perfect buy zone here. We can go as low as 1860, but you got to be very, very careful. Market will not give you exactly what you want. So this is a good area. Okay, so this is a very good area. I think gold is going to bottom very, very soon, and then it's going to start heading higher. So take your chances, guys. I think gold and gold miners are looking really, really nice. Silver, same thing. It's if I draw a fib retracement, actually it's already here. I've drawn it before. If I go to rectangle, this is the box to buy. Okay, you can see we got rejected here, and now we're in the buy zone. Okay, 22 was my target, and it's very close to that. Really, guys, you should be really looking to buy gold and silver. This is like your golden opportunity to buy before we go to new all-time highs. Okay, SLV is the ETF you can trade. This is exactly silver, tracer silver, and GLD is the one which trades. This is the one, GLD is for gold. So you can even buy physical gold, physical silver, go to store. This is looking really nice at this time. Okay, so moving along, dollar I'm expecting new lows. You can see here I'm expecting new lows. It's getting weaker and weaker. There's big support here in this area around 101. It can stay here and stabilize a bit, but if dollar goes lower, it's going to put upwards pressure on market and gold. Okay, Bitcoin and Ethereum I covered. Oil sector, again, in this trading range between sell and buy zone. This green is buy zone around 65, red is sell zone. I'm not bullish on oil sector this year. Oil stocks is not going to do as good as other tech stocks, but yeah, looking for lower prices on oil. Natural gas is up. It was up today. Let's bring some SMA lines. You can see how nicely it's holding above this red line. This is red is 50 SMA. As long as it's above this line, it's all good. And natural gas looks like it already bottomed. So looking for higher prices from here. The multiple gaps to the top, so I did not draw it, but there's a lot of upside on natural gas from here. And gold miners, what I was telling you is very close to the buy zone. You can see this buy zone here. It's right on this buy zone. It's below this trend line. This looks like a stop trade. Okay. Look to buy gold miners. If I go to 1 hour chart, there was a gap. There's still a gap here around 31.30. So from today's close to that gap, it's around 4% pump. We can get 4% pump very, very easily in a day. Okay. So again, gold, I'm giving you advice, look to buy gold and gold miners. This is like really, really nice entry right now here. You want to buy when things are really, really down. You can see gold miners. This is the entire gold miners ETF. From the top to the bottom, we're down 18%, 18.5%. This is the perfect time to buy. And you can see we are making a new low. Gold miners is making a new low with divergence on PPO and RSI. So that's an early indication that a reversal is about to happen, and you really don't want to miss this chance. Okay, you can see what's happening on RSI and PPO. Price is going lower, but these are going higher. So you can see what happened here. Same thing. Price was going lower. This was going higher. Exactly same thing is happening. You can see here, price was going lower. PPO and RSI was going higher. A bounce. Perfect time to buy. Okay. Do not basically miss this opportunity. There's a gap here. I was just looking at this gap, which is around 29. So if we go a little bit lower, even better price tomorrow. Okay. All right. So that's looking good. Copper, I do want it to go a bit lower, but looks like they don't want to give me prices. But if for some reason copper goes lower, then that will be a good area to buy. Now it keeps going higher and higher. So I have to adjust this fib retracement. So I have to get rid of this box. So I have to draw new fib retracement because it keeps going higher and higher. And the new buy zone in copper is here. This is what I'm looking to buy. So around 3.77. Okay. So from today's close, that's about 3%, 3.5% out. Palladium was down, but looking good. You can see it could be the back test of this trend line. You can see very nicely. It's just going down because of gold, but you can see what it's doing. It's just back testing this. You can see breakout. See this trend line breakout now back testing. That will be a good area to. PALL is the ETF. You can see it was down to 2.8%. I think Palladium is a good time to buy. Wheat, exceptional breakout, very, very bullish move since we broke out of this bullish falling wedge. I've been telling you guys on touches of this wedge, buy it, buy it, buy it. I think few people bought it, and I'm very happy for you guys. So from the bottom to the top, we are up 29, 30%. Okay, you guys must have made humongous gains. Okay, if you're watching this channel and if you bought it, just please comment below and let me know. I'll be very happy, and hit the like button. All right, so we just getting started, guys. Many upside targets. Okay, this whole year from 30th of March last year, more than a year, just going down, just going straight down. So this is just getting higher. It can even go to new all-time highs. Okay, so very bullish move. Looks like short term it's oversold. You can see RSI is oversold. So if you get a little bit pullbacks, buy it. It's going to be buy the dip. And if you want to see where we can buy, you can draw a trend line like this. Okay, so buy on touches of this trend line. Okay, so it's not gonna go straight up. Okay, so it could like here but I really hope it goes something like this, little bit up down, little bit up down, little bit up down. So I want to see some trend develop, because this parabolic move comes down. You can see the way we go high, that's the same way we come down. Okay, I don't want to see parabolic moves. That's not healthy for the market. Okay, Con, again, same story here. Parabolic moves. I really hope it gets some cool off. If we go down, the 200 SMA is here around 649. And if we keep going higher, then if we get a little bit more lower, the target to buy would be here, somewhere around here. Okay. Soybean, same thing. All these commodities are taking good bid. They just keep pumping. Um, Only gold is not pumping, so there's like a conflict. But eventually, gold will join these commodities, and it will just explode, guys. It will just explode, and you won't even know it, you won't be able to chase it. Okay, so buy when things are going down. Do not buy when it's up significantly. Sugar looks like it. This is the nice trend line. It could come for a back test here around 25.826. That will be great area to buy sugar. So if I draw some fib retracements on sugar, this is you can buy cane. This is the ETF you can buy. So the buy zone is around here on sugar. Okay, so looking to buy somewhere around here. All right. So let's get rid of this. So a little bit more downside. That would be good area to buy. Haven't seen mortgage rates for a while, but looks like we went down here, so I can delete this. And now I think Fed's market thinks they are bluffing, but you gotta be careful, guys. If market is gonna see some weakness, this is probably gonna go high to fill these gaps. So I'm gonna keep this target for now. Bonds, again, kind of flat looks like this candle, but I'm expecting a low, equal low, or lower low. So let's get rid of this trend line. Let's draw something new. So expecting a new low here, okay, before a bounce. That's what I'm expecting on bonds. DIA is the ETF for Dow Jones. Let's draw some, let's review some, let me hide these moving averages. Let's review, there's a gap here, so gap still not filled. So from today's close to the gap, it's still around 1% up, and there's another massive gap down there. So go on daily. You can see the trend line. I have it here, so I'm going to leave it as it is. You can easily, I don't know if you're going to go as far as that, but it's possible. Who knows? But if you go there, that's going to be an awesome opportunity. But look to buy all the dips. I'm looking for a new high on Dow Jones. IWM, let's see 1 hour chart. I don't see any gaps here. This gap is also filled, looks like. Oh, this is just a resistance. This is not a gap. I forgot. So let's go to daily chart. Again, it's in the buy zone. So I don't think it's going to go as low as what I showed here, but there is a massive gap here. So we got to be careful. But if I draw a fib retracement on Russell, we're very close to the buy zone. So the buy zone is somewhere here. Okay. So here's the buy zone. All right. That's on Russell. And sectors, XLE bouncing, but again rejected. Got rejected. If I draw this SMA lines, you can see it got rejected right from 20 moving average. Again, this gap is still there. Big gap is here. So I think oil was almost up to 2.5%, but this sector is down. Just remember there is a massive gap here around $71. That is my target, and I'll be looking for that target. And if we go there, that will be a great buying opportunity. Okay, this is on XLE, and then XLU looking good. XLU is holding this trend line. You can see this trend line, white trend line. Looking for, you can see they did a raid. They dipped below this trend line to make a stop hunt, and then recovered very nicely towards the end of the day. Okay, so as long as we are above this trend line, things are looking good on utility sector. XLV flat today, and the good thing is it's still above this these two lines, light blue and dark blue line. These are 200 EMA and 200 SMA. Finding resistance on this 50 daily SMA line, but if we get some weakness, that will be good area to buy to go higher. We can still go higher, like straight up. Looks like also it making some sort of inverse head and shoulder. So what that means is, you can see this is head. You can see this is like a shoulder, left shoulder. This is right shoulder, and the target could be, if I draw a move from here, When it breaks out, it could go to new all-time highs. Okay, it actually, this previous high can easily be broken. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Get rid of these ones. So anyhow, healthcare is looking good. I have it here like that. I don't know exactly if we're going to go that low. Maybe we're going to go slightly lower, and then I'm looking for previous highs or new highs on XLV. Industrial, same as Dow Jones. Let's try to add some targets here. Looks like, yeah, so the buy zone is here. And if I go to 1 hour chart, this gap, there are multiple, oh, this gap is filled. So we can move this gap to the top. So this gap is, another gap is left. And yeah, also this massive gap at the down, so we got to be careful. So these gaps can be filled anytime. Real estate sector, XLRE. Let's go to 1 hour chart. Looks like we have some gaps on this as well. So if I hide this SMA lines, this gap here, today we created a gap, we recovered the gap towards the end. So my projection is still same, looking for this gap to fill before going higher. XLF, same thing. There's a gap left from a couple of days ago. So gap to the top here around $33. So looking for that gap to fill. Actually, this gap here, we can get rid of this. I don't see any gap here. So a gap here, and then also there's a massive gap here. Actually, this gap is right here. So $31. So that will be a good entry. So I'm hoping XLF can go down, fill this gap. That will be great opportunity to buy alongside. Okay, those are sectors, and then let's quickly look at tech stock. Tesla down more than 5.5%. Okay, one day this looks like a reversal candle, massive candles. Last two candles are gone in one day. Let me get rid of this. If you go to 1 hour chart, you can see a gap is here. Most likely it's going to come to fill this gap here, which is around 235. There's another gap, 221. There's another gap, 208. There's another gap here. Multiple gaps. That's all I'm going to say for now. And if we want to see, so I even have it drawn like this here. So it looks like we're going to come down here, fill this gap, another bounce, and then eventually come lower to fill most of these gaps. Okay, be careful. Looks like Tesla might be towards the end of this run. Okay, and then there's a big gap here around 145. Maybe we'll go there by earnings. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, let me get rid of this because these trend lines are not valid anymore. Apple, same thing, multiple gaps. So let's go to 1 hour. I think there was no gap today, but gap here. All these gaps are looking for lower prices on tech stock. Google, again, I told you guys there is a gap here around 109. So at minimum, looking for that gap to fill before a bounce. Microsoft, you can look and see last couple of days. In 3 days, we just dropped how much? 3 days we dropped 5%. Okay, massive gap here. At minimum this gap will be filled around 315. Then there is another huge gap here around 276. It can even go as low as that. Meta is a gap city. You can see there are multiple gaps on Meta, and also it's holding this trend line with divergence. You can see PPO and RSI going lower, price going higher. uh, so also there's this massive gap here around 209. So looking for those gaps to fill. Amazon was green at one point and then it ended up red. And you can see there's also multiple gaps on Amazon. So you can see this gap here around 121. Then there's gap 115. There's another gap at 106. And then also there are multiple gaps here. Okay. Netflix, same thing here. Multiple gaps on Netflix as well. You can see this is a daily chart. You can see this is also a trend line here. So you can at minimum, I think it's going to come back to this trend line before the bounce. Actually, if I go to 1 hour chart, looks like a gap might have filled. So this gap is filled. You can see how nicely these guys fill the gap. This is a hint, guys. So there are multiple gaps here. So you take a pick. Keep going lower. Snowflakes down 3%. And on Snowflakes, there is a gap right here at the bottom here around 136. So from today's close, it can come right down to like 21%. Okay, so be very careful on tech stocks. NVDA recovered at the end. It was down more than 3%, but this massive gap, this guy is almost 250 times, 240 times earnings. Okay, so This is unbelievable. Okay, so be very careful. We're going to get a big dump on NVIDIA. AMD 5%. Looks like it's very close to this first gap around 108. Let's load. So 109. Looks like this gap is going to be filled. Let's go to 1 hour chart. Did we gap down? No gaps down. And there's no divergence on 1 hour chart. So looks like lower prices are due on AMD. And at minimum, we are filling this gap at 109. We can even go lower. You can see all these gaps on the lower side. So many gaps are here. So if I draw a Fibonacci retracement from here to here, at minimum, looks like we are coming to this buy zone, which is here, and which is where the gaps are also there. So that will be a good area to buy. But I'm trying to stay away from tech sector because I don't know, they can drop easily 10 to 15%, most of them. Okay. All right. I'm not going to review everything, guys. I think I reviewed a lot of sectors here. Um, and then the last thing is let's review Canadian sector XIC, which is TSX. It's coming very close to the gap. So I'm looking to buy very, very soon this one. You can see this gap here. And if I draw Fibonacci retracement, it's at 0.618, right where actually it did fill the gap today. So that's good news. So it's in the buy zone, guys. You should be looking. This is like the bottom 0.618. So very good sector to buy. XIC is the ETF if you're looking to buy. Okay, guys, if you're still here, please hit the like button on your way out. And okay, just a quick one on VIX. VIX keeps dropping, where the S&P 500 is round, red as well. It's a conflict. So anyhow, I'm looking for a bounce anytime on VIX. Okay, that's it, guys. All right, have a good one, and don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Take care and have a great